Hey, I'm James JT Thompson, host of the Elite Life Talk Show. For more information on advertisement, please send an email to t.n.e.networksllc@gmail.com. Hey, this is James JT Thompson. You're watching the Elite Life Talk Show. Welcome in, y'all. It's a dope opportunity, man, to be able to do this show and be able to bring the energy back. You know what I'm saying? Brand new season, premieres of the Elite Life show. So I hope you enjoy it here, you know what I'm saying, on the TNE network. Definitely, if you're interested in being a guest on the Elite Life, you can go to Elite Life 57 at gmail.com and, you know, just send inquiries, and as well as advertising as well. You can do that as well. You can catch the shows on our YouTube channel. That's the TNE network on the YouTube channel, and catch us, you know, catch our show. So definitely welcome in, y'all. Let's get into it. We got a very special guest coming on. You know what I'm saying? Looking forward to it. We definitely will let you know who that is when time clicks in. I want to talk a little bit about just, you know, life in general for a minute. You know, sometimes, man, we get complacent in thinking about, you know, taking things for granted. And it's so easy to do, you know, in this day and time. And, you know, we gotta keep, you know, focus, gotta stay consistent with just being the best, you know, possible human beings that we could possibly be. This life is not forever, it's temporary. And here, you know, talking about elite life, that means that you're maximizing and you're doing all that you can to, make your life the most productive as it could possibly be. Men, you know, the society, we already know it's two strikes on us, you know what I'm saying, in presentation and how you go about life, and, you know, positioning yourself as something that's really, really big. So, you know, you got to be careful, because I always say, you know, it's like people are waiting for, you know, you to mess up, you know what I'm saying, so they can give you that third strike. So, you know, it's the small lessons in this life. And in being that, you know, we got to, you know, stay focused and stay encouraged at all times. And I think our guest is here, y'all. So we come on in and I introduce you. Hey, Anjelica Estrella, how you doing?
Hello, great. How are you?
Oh man, it is awesome to have you on this episode of Elite Life. We are here, we are live, we are recording, and it is such an honor to have you on my show.
Oh, thanks for saying that. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's Sunday, you know what I'm saying, blessed day, and you know, I can't complain. So again, I want you to introduce yourself to our audience here at Elite Life.
Well, I'm Anjelica Estrella. I am a recording artist and musician, multi-genre vocalist. I got a couple of kids I homeschool. One of them is an entrepreneur and runs her own business called nailgoat.com, and where they sell press-on nails, and they're custom designed. So anything that you see on Instagram or Facebook or anything that you saw that you like, you could just shoot her a picture of that and she can recreate that work. So yeah.
Awesome. So tell us some of the early influences as far as music, and as far as you really coming into just, you know, being a lover of music and being in the creative process. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think that MTV, the music video scene back in the 90s, had a really great and giant influence on me. And then growing up, you know, my dad, he owns Budget Records, and now he owns Wolfson Records and Equipment, and he has like one of the largest record collections in the United States. So, you know, having that kind of musical influence was really, really important, and kind of shaped today who I am as a rock musician. Mostly rock, but I do all different genres. But that's kind of like what made me so diverse, I think.
Okay, okay. So when you think about music and you think about your impact, how do you feel about, you know, your contribution and the stuff that you're putting out there? Because, you know, once you put it out there, it lives on forever and ever. And how do you feel about that? That people hundreds of years from now will be able to listen to something you put out back in 2020.
I think it's really, really cool. I talk about this from time to time with my friends and other people, my kids. I'm like, this is a really, really unique time to be a musician because of social media and places like BandLab, spaces like bandlab.com. Because, you know, back in the old days, we didn't get to hear like what Michael Jackson sounded like when he was starting off, you know, or when he was just playing with songs, thinking if they were even going to become songs. No one really knows like what Beyonce sounded like when she was trying to make an album. No one knows what Queen or anyone kind of sounded like when they were trying to put songs together. And I think it's really, really, really cool. And it's very different and unique experience that people can see now. Like me, just starting off as a, you know, musician and seeing the first songs and the songs when they are like in the incubator state, and then them turn into actually really amazing, well-mixed masterpieces. I think it's something really unique, and people are going to really appreciate that in future years to come.
Awesome. So let's get into this. Let's talk about We Are Unicorns. Tell us, educate us on what that's about.
So the brand We Are Unicorns, and the reason I chose that name is because the musicians, first off, I do all genres. You know, I do metal, I do punk, which is still part of rock. But I also have a couple R&B songs that have won contests, and I have a couple of rap tracks that have won, hip hop tracks that have won awards as well. And the reason I said that We Are Unicorns is because unicorns to me are like something that are not supposed to exist. They don't really exist. And in music, I haven't really seen anybody like me who exists. So I put that out there like that. And the we is because I extended the brand to reach my children who are artists as well. And my husband, who is a really awesome, talented artist as well. So that's kind of why I did the whole We Are Unicorns brand, as well as the musicians we work with. They're really talented people. That one of the drummers I work with is just so talented. Anyone who hears him drum, they can like tell it's him right off. He has that really unique, distinct, and high caliber of talent. So
awesome. That is so awesome. Just that whole creative process and just thinking about the inspiration and the impact of all of that is so dope. So let's talk about something inspiring that I know, a project that's near and dear to your heart, which I got the send button on it so I can get it over to you. But please educate our people about it so we can get some more participation.
So yeah, I'm working night and day and night around the clock on this project called the I Love You Project. And love is a really big thing to me because I feel like it's something that people kind of fallen off with. And I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about just like human compassion for each other. And I mean, just looking at each other as if everybody was just you. And how do you want people to relate to you? And how do I want people to relate to me? I love when people tell me that they love me, you know, like as a sister, as a brother, as a father figure, as a mother figure, as a friend, as a child. You know, I really appreciate that, and I want more of it. So I figure, why not make a project that does exactly that? And of course, romantic love is great too. But in the song that I wrote, the backstory is really great because I had the lyrics, just had lyrics to the song that I wrote years, maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. And I met someone on BandLab, and his name's Tony Dumont, and he had a track. He's like, I need lyrics on this. You want to see if you can do something? And as soon as I heard it, I was like, I already wrote lyrics for this. Like, I wrote lyrics for this. And he's like, I had this like for 10, 12 years. And I was like, I had my lyrics for that long. Like, this is wild right now. So the part that I need the public on is sending me audio clips of them saying, I love you in a different language. We don't need any more Spanish. We could use more American English, but we don't need any more Spanish unless you speak Spanish like from Argentina or Spain. If you speak Spanish from Argentina or Puerto Rico, if you speak Spanish from Puerto Rico, Argentina, or Spain, then we can use your thing. Anyone else to speak Spanish, we got it. We got all of the Spanishes. We wanted several more African languages. If anyone is a female who can speak Afrikaans, I would appreciate that. Any other African languages, Swahili, Zulu, Xhosa, I hope I'm saying that right, or any of those other, the one that comes from Sudan, I can't remember the name of it right now, but any of those other languages, we need all of them. Like, send all the African languages to us because there's so many, and they're really what's gonna make this song like have all of the languages that we need. So I would really appreciate that. And that project, we're hoping to have it done by fall of this year. I was hoping to have it done by spring, but the Corona thing kind of, you know, wiped all that out. So now we're pushing it to fall, but we could really use as many as people could send. And the place to send that to is karaoke therapy 1, and that's the number, at gmail.com.
Awesome. And we're going to do my best on Elite Life to get that out to a few people that I know that actually speak those languages and try to get them on board to help move that project along. So that is so amazing, Angelica. That really is. I want to say that you as an artist and being creative and what you're doing is just so amazing. If we just had, you know, more people that just really thought, you know, and focused in on just what's important as far as being creative and just being who you are, I mean, this life would be so much more amazing. So thank you for what you bring to life as far as just being you and not trying to be anything different.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And that's the cool part about it. And it's something that's really cool about you. So
what else can I be? Just me.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It's what makes, I always call it authentic. And it's always good to be authentic and be original. And I think that's what makes it amazing when you bring, you know, things like that together. So thank you for that and all that you're, you know, putting in as far as that. So let me ask you about this. You mentioned the elephant in the room, COVID-19.
Oh, yes.
So how are you adapting to the new normal for right now? And I call it temporary because it's going to pass at some point and minimize itself. But how are you and your family coping with it? And what are you doing as far as bringing new energy, you know, within the household?
Well, so what I've been doing is kind of like crafting and getting the children to see, like, you know, just they can have fun without really going outside, which is so sad. But, you know, so a couple of I posted on my Facebook a couple of little quarantine crafts is what I call them. We did, one day we did like a Nerf targets out of like a cardboard box. We cut out a bunch of targets and like zip tied them to a bigger cardboard. You can see it on my Facebook, my We Are Unicorns Facebook. And the kids like got to sit outside in the backyard and just like shoot the targets with their Nerf guns. And the one we made today was we got like, I don't know if you've ever seen like one of those cat tunnels, those rainbow cat tunnels that cats like run through to play. So I got one of those, but I hung it up like vertically from the ceiling and let the boys like have like little plushy balls, like soccer balls and basketballs, and like just throw it through those things. The top one's like 200 points, the bottom's like 100 points, and the top at the top I put it's 1,000,000 points just because they're boys and they like silly stuff like that. So like they like have like a little things like that to play in their room. We made a sand pit out of a tent.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So we just kind of like just do zany stuff. I don't try not to cuss. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on the show, but we just do zany stuff for like, you know, the kids like. Just let them do stuff they wouldn't normally be able to do.
Definitely. I mean, that's dope. I mean, you're creating and you're bonding, you know, by doing stuff like that. And that's stuff the kids are going to remember. I mean,
right.
It's just amazing. So when we talk about the kids for a moment, how do you see yourself in each of your children? Like what personality trait do you see that's like, wow, that's just like looking in the mirror. Like I remember that was me when I was that age.
I don't know. Like they're all so different. I don't ever really like look for myself in them. I just
Okay.
see them like as I haven't like I just can't. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, oh, your daughter looks like you, and she does. I think she does look like me, but she's just so. I wasn't really like as driven as she is, so that's really something that I admire in her, because she's like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. She was 6 when she knew what she was going to do for her entire life. Like I didn't have that, so like I don't really. And then I have like all the rest are all boys, and they're just like zany, crazy people. I guess my son Jackson, he knows everything. Like you literally cannot teach him anything because he already knows it. You know, like he knows it. So if
Yeah.
you're like, hey, what about this? And he's like, yeah, I already knew that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, did you know this shark does that? And he's like, yeah, I read that yesterday. So I think that kind of, he's probably the one that reminds me the most of myself, because I'm kind of a know-it-all sometimes too. Like it's something that I like researching stuff, and I usually know a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I already know that already.
So, okay, let me ask you, what do they all have in common? What's one thing that each of them have in common with each other?
This is gonna sound so square and hokey, but they all love the Lord. Like it's true. They do. They all love the Lord, and they all love their parents. They're very respectable kids. Like every time I go somewhere, I have like, you know, the elders come around us, and they're like, you are a great mom. Your kids are so well behaved. I'm like, thank you. I try. I'm like, because it's literally just me praying and like God correcting them, and you know, it really is.
So what is something that you would say that you advocate for? What is one thing or maybe 2 things that you can think of right off the top that you advocate for and pretty really speak up about?
Well, I definitely, a lot of people know this about me, speak out against domestic violence against women, because I feel like women are really unprotected class of individuals in this country. And I think that especially women of color deserve better protections from the government that they live under, that they respect and observe. You know, we respect the laws and observe the laws and try to, like, you know, help our neighbors and our children. And a lot of times we end up with, you know, the short end of the stick when it comes to domestic violence issues. And I will forever be an advocate against domestic violence, and children staying with their mothers, and you know, really like having their mother in their life. That's something that I'll really be a strong advocate for as long as I am around, and even afterwards.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: in your opinion, will we see in our lifetime? Will we get to see a woman, a lady president in our lifetime?
I don't know. Like, I feel like yes. Like, I feel like yes.
Okay.
I feel like most definitely yes. But like, I think that it's gonna take some serious work. But I think yes.
I think, you know, the part that concerns me about it is there'll be a revealing. If we get to that point, there's going to be something that's going to be exposed about our country. And that's that, you know, the belief that there should be in what a woman can do is not totally already always there across the board. Like, you got to think about it. Like, why wouldn't we got governors, we got council people, we got people that, you know, that ladies are in those, you know, in those seats. And if I look at like this election that's coming up, if it holds true that, you know, there'll be a woman that will be running as vice president, and I think that it'll be one step closer to where we need to be, you know, because I think there needs to be that balance. I really do, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that you in creating this show right here, you know, are definitely, you know, in Elite Life, we want to get men to be more responsible and be better, you know, all the way across the board as far as the thinking. And that's one element that we really have to zone in on. If we looking at our mothers and have respect for our mothers and those, you know, that's who gave birth to us, then why are we so critical of women being in position and being leaders as well? I think I think it's time for us to embrace that for what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, I really want to see that in my lifetime. I really want to see that happen, because I think it's been way too long, and I think the stereotype against women is just is so old school. Like, we need to really get past that hurdle in life and really embrace that and really work together, you know what I'm saying, as a whole, and really embrace that, because I don't think there would be a fall off, you know what I'm saying, because you look at what you're doing, you know what I'm saying, you're leading, you're inspiring, you're creating. So why couldn't we have that same element, you know what I'm saying, as a female as president, is my only thing.
I appreciate hearing you say
that.
that. That's amazing to hear that coming from a guy. Like, I don't mean to cut you off. I hope you don't mind me interjecting.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Yeah, for like, as far as my ministry, I have a lot of what I talk about is geared towards men, because I know, like, I'm very aware of who I am, and I know men listen to me when I talk a lot of times. And especially being a mom of 4 sons, you know, I get the attention of males. So I love to talk to them about how their behavior affects women, how their thought process affects women. And it really, really, really means a lot to me to hear you say something like that. Because I'm like, wow, men really are out here listening to women and changing and evolving, because evolution is so paramount. You know, the things in life that don't evolve, they end up dying off, you know.
Yeah.
They become extinct. If you don't evolve, you're obsolete. So I think as a mother of so many boys, that's why my heart kind of goes out to men. I'm like, do you understand, like, we need you to step up and evolve and change and become someone who listens and caters to the solution and not towards the problem. You know, because eventually, like, I hate to see where this world goes if men continue with the, you know, kind of self is better than everybody else personality traits and egotistical thinking. It's sad, to be honest. Like, it's really, really sad to me. As a mother of sons, it's really sad to me. It really is.
It was important to have you on my show as one of my first guests, because I knew that you would have something uplifting and encouraging for both men and women. And this is the basis of my show, to just show that no matter whether it's coming from a female or a male, we've got to be able to encourage one another.
Oh, yeah.
And even where it pertains to critique, I've got to be man enough to be able to listen to you, listen to your opinion, listen to your thoughts, and be able to shape that up for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Self-examine myself and be like, you know what? I can do that a little bit better. Or, you know what? That might be a flaw of mine, because nobody is created perfect. So I can look at myself and be like, you know what? I can look at that and I can work at that. And I think, you know, that's the one thing, the flaw that we have here as a community, is that we're not always receptive to just honesty and just being real. You got to be able to embrace that, because you can't just be one way with that. You got to be able to receive it, as well as be able to, you know what I'm saying, you know, give it out, but give it out in a way where you're trying to uplift and encourage and inspire somebody to be better.
That's
because
right.
if you're doing it for any other reason, then that's selfishness.
That's right.
And that's the only way that I can look at it.
No, it's
so
very true.
I commend you for coming on my show and saying something so dope that it resonates to people all around the world. And that's what we need. We need more of that. And it leads me to my next question, where it pertains to you. Who would you say would be a role model that you could say kind of inspired you, you know what I'm saying, as you was coming up?
Gosh, that's such a hard question. I mean, it's a really hard question. It really is. Because I mean, it's a really hard question. Nowadays, people have like Michelle Obama and you know, I guess like when I was already an adult, they had like Condoleezza Rice kind of characters who were, you know, really great to look up to. But I, I, I have a different way of looking at the world. That's why it's so hard for me to answer this question, because
For
I
me,
don't really look up.
let me help you. For me,
Mm-hmm.
when I get that question, it was my grandmother. Because my
Oh,
grandmother, she poured tender love and care into me before I knew anything about that.
that's
And so I always
awesome.
look back to her as she first introduced me to something that you gotta have as a foundation, as your personality in this life. If you have that and you know how to incorporate that, it will take you a long way in this life. So she will always be somebody that I would name as one of the first role models in my life, because she took me as an innocent boy and poured something into me, not because not because she felt obligated, because that's what she wanted to leave as her legacy. And I thank God for her. She lived 95 years, and I'll never forget her impact on my life. So when I ask you that, in all realness, because I remember the impact she had on my life, and I always dig back to that as to how I'm able to operate as a man. This day, it goes back to what she did when I was innocent and didn't know any better.
That's awesome. That's such a beautiful story. That's so great that you had that. That's amazing.
With you having boys, you know what I'm saying, I think it's incredible. A mother too, and not to diminish my mom, because my mom is awesome. My mom taught in the classroom for 51 years.
Oh,
It was in
wow.
my heart, and she didn't leave it alone until just a few years ago. And so when I look at you and I see, and I've heard, in the interviews that I've had you on other platforms, what you pour into your boys, what you poured into your daughter, that within itself, you have set them to be successful, and they're gonna be somebody's in this life, and it all is because of the foundation that you and both your husband have given. And salute to you on that,
Oh, thank
for
you.
being so awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, you asked me about, assuming this would be like a real intimate conversation about who's my role model, because I really had to pull my own self up by my bootstraps, as they say, being really young and being the oldest. And it wasn't easy. I was there for me, I had to come to a point in my life where I decided there was enough people in my life I didn't want to be like. And so I got down on my knees and started praying. And that I felt like at that moment, I surrendered my life to God, and He led me and was like, this is what you need to do. This is what you don't need to do. And I'm trying not to cry, but that was what, that's what helped me guide my children, was mostly like who I don't want to be like what I don't want them to feel like. And that's what kind of helps me kind of even talk about how I think the world should be. I'm like, do you guys understand what you make people feel like when you do this? Do you understand what you make men feel like when you say this? Like, even to women, I say, like, if my friends are like, my husband did this, I'm like, but you shouldn't have done that, though. And even if a dude comes to me and like, my wife is this, I'm like, but this is where you were wrong. And I think of a lot of us, like, just like you said, take the moment and love and think about, how am I making somebody else feel, and do I want to ever feel that way? Then it would seriously change our whole planet.
You know what? This has been such a dope interview.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I kind of overwent my time, so let me ask you this before we get out of here. Give all your social media, how people can link up with you and follow you, Anjelica.
So if you just go to Google, type "we," the letter R, unicorns, in the little quotes, you'll pretty much find anything that I'm on. But I'm Unicorns Are We on Facebook, Unicorns Are We on Twitter. We Are Unicorns with a little underscore on Instagram. We Are Unicorns on BandLab, which is where you can follow my musical journey, hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, which I love to give to the people. I really do. I love it. Even if people are like, this is horrible, I'm like, so this is part of the process. You need to hear that.
It is.
And one last thing on that. The reason they need to hear that is because there's little kids out there in the world who are like, I'm not good enough to be a singer. I want them to hear, when you start singing, it doesn't sound good. But if you keep at it, it ends up sounding like the finished products that I put on my page too. I can very well just only put out finished products and make it sound beautiful every single time. But I want those young children to see it ain't always going to sound good, but you'll get to where you want to go if you don't give up. So those are all my social medias.
Amazing, amazing advice. Anjelica, it has been an honor to have you on Elite Life. We wish you success, and we send prayers to everything that you do, everything that you touch. We ask God to pave the way for it. We look forward to having you back on soon. Take care of yourself. Definitely give love to the family. And it has been a complete honor again.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Definitely. You take care of yourself, and thank you for coming on the show.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. So definitely, y'all, it's been a dope show. We had Anjelica Estrella on with us on this episode of Elite Life. Man, tune in to the YouTube channel, TNE Networks. Don't miss it, y'all. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to reach out and get more information, elitelife57@gmail.com. I am your host, James JT Thompson. God bless. Take care.